Thank you, Kushla. Kia ora tātou. Nau mai hoki mai ki te marama poro Aotearoa te taurua manau rua te kaumatoru. Ko Sarah, ahau. No ko te rana o ku tipuna e tipu ake au ki Tāmaki Makaurau. My name is Sarah. I live up the road. I work at Irirangi to Motu, New Zealand on air. I'm also a weekly broadcaster at Irirangi Poho, the mighty BFM. And I moonlight sometimes at Te Reo Irirangi o Aotearoa Radio New Zealand. I like voices, storytelling, songs, and music videos, which is why it's super ace I get to moderate this panel with three women who are great collaborators in all of those spaces. Will you please join me in welcoming, I will make them introduce themselves, but I want a round of applause first. Reshma Martin, Abby Knudson, and Anna Duckworth. So I've blabbed on and introduced myself. How about Reshma, we start with you?
Sure. Kia ora everyone in Apa Kabar. My name is Reshma. I am a singer-songwriter born in Malaysia, currently based in Tāmaki Makaurau, and I make cool music things. So nice to be here. I hope that the things that we have to share impart some value onto all of you. And yeah, thanks for being here.
Kia ora. I'm Abby Knudson, and I am a producer and artist. I've got an artist project under the moniker of MISSY, which is self-produced.
Kia ora, I am Anna Rose Duckworth. I'm a filmmaker. I am based in Auckland, and I've made some music videos, including the Equaliser grant. And yeah, keen to chat about making music videos and collaboration.
Sick. Speaking of collaboration, of course, the umbrella theme of New Zealand Music Month this year is community and collaboration, and we're going to touch on that throughout this chat. I'm going to start with Anna because this is Music Month, but Anna's specialty is screen and direction of screen projects. So, collaborating with people, how do you take somebody else's piece of art, which is in theory a finished piece of art with a narrative and a story of its own, and then try and platform that and give it your own bit of zhuzh?
Well, the answer to that is collaboration. It's a very unique form of collaboration because you're taking, somebody else's art, but also you're like representing their brand and representing who they are and what they're about. And so it's really important to, really get a full download from them of what they are, who they are, what they want to represent, and what the song means. And then you're kind of taking that and making it into this visual representation of that and bringing your own style and flair and whatever creative techniques or storytelling that you want to bring to it as well. So it's finding those pairings where you really vibe with each other's, creativity, or sometimes they just want to hand over full, creative control and you get to just go ham. You can make a short film or you can do something really wild. But it's just, making sure that it works for both of you and it's representing who they are and that you get to, show yourself as well.
Totally. Abby and Reshma, you are coming at it from the artist perspective. You've had music videos made for your projects musically. What have you really appreciated in collaborating with someone from the screen side, and what have you not appreciated?
Left field question.
Let's start with what you feel is really important when you're starting that collaboration.
Do you want to go first? Or? I think it's all about approach, because you have to take into consideration how the director works and what kind of creative control that they'd like to kind of put into the project themselves. So if you have 1,000,000 ideas and a really clear idea of how the music video is going to look, and then you work with a director that has a really strong aesthetic and style and really strong creative ideas themselves and is used to having more creative control, that's going to potentially cause issues from the get-go.
Friction.
So, yeah. So, I think I've experienced that interaction before, and then I've also experienced, seeking out a director that has that same creative, expression and the need to put a lot of creative ideas into the project, and just letting them, letting them do their
Do their
thing.
thing.
Yeah. So I think the ups and downs of it is all about your approach sometimes, and making sure that you research a little bit more about who you're working with, so you know how to approach the music video before you even get started. Because I think, I'll ramble on forever, but like, yeah, a lot of people going into it just think, okay, it's just the same with production, right? An artist will go, oh, I'll work with a producer, I'll make a song, and it'll be amazing, it'll be exactly how I imagine it. But no.
Because 1 + 1 can equal 2, but 1 + 1 can also equal 3. It's the thing you create in the middle, right?
Yeah. And no matter which direction you go in, like, even if you decide to take a route where the artist has, the maximum creative control over it, it's like gonna look different depending on who you're working with. It's like different producers will create different sounding music, even if it's the same, even for the same artist on the same song. You get 4 different producers doing the same track, they don't hear each other's work, it's gonna sound different. Same way with the music video, so I don't know. Yeah.
Picking up what you're putting down. Now, Reshma, when you've created or been kind of creative directing your own video content for your music, you do not censor yourself in terms of scope. You know what you want with choreography, you know what you want to put forth, you are not afraid to ask for the funding to get it, ask for the people to come and work with you. How do you approach collaboration in that space?
I notice that magic is created in collaboration when there is a strong bond and relationship with the people that you're working with. For me, I definitely feel like I'm headstrong in the creative space. However, it is highly reliant on all of these people within my community who have come out to support the mahi that I do. And I'm really grateful that they've taken the time to whakawhenongatanga with me and to build that relationship so that it doesn't feel like it's just my project, it's our project. And there's a real power in community in that sense. And I think the most successful collaborations, including the one that I did with EQ, in my opinion, which hopefully will be successful, has been magical because we all really care about each other's art, and have taken the effort to understand each other's perspectives in art. So yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
Now, Anna, from your perspective, if you're wanting to get involved in helping artists create visual content for their audio content, and you haven't really reached that community space where you're having these conversations already, where you're not able to have that communication, how do you start off? If you're wanting to make video content, but you're not quite there already having conversations with artists?
Yeah, that's a really good question. It's one that I hear a lot, that it is hard to know where to start. There's this, wall of, well, I'm seeing these music videos being made, but how do I actually connect with that? And, I've got some tips and tricks on that. And a wee
I thought you might.
Yeah, a wee little TikTok. So shall we watch that? A few people reached out asking for advice about how to direct music videos, and so I thought I'd just put some tips together in a video. First of all, tell people that you want to direct music videos. Put it on your stories, post about it on your Facebook, tweet about it, tell your friends, tell your peers. You're not going to just magically hear about opportunities unless people know it's the kind of thing that you're looking for. Offer to help on some music videos, go and crew, go make coffee, go be a runner, whatever. But the more that you see the process of a music video being made behind the scenes, it will inform how you would come up with concepts and, the scope of what you can achieve, and you'll meet a bunch of crew, which will be necessary for making a music video anyway. Research the funding rounds, so look at where they're announced, how often they come out, how many music videos they fund. The Making Tracks is usually announced on Facebook and a number of places, and you want to see that every time and look at all the musicians, and you want to get in touch with each of those musicians and ask them if you can pitch an idea to them. Don't ask if you can direct their music video. That's like too much too soon. Just ask if you can pitch them an idea, if they're open to hearing an idea. And if they are, then you want to take them out for coffee or jump on a call, ask them what they're into,
if they had any ideas for the video already, how they want to be represented, like what they're cool with and what they're not cool with. Then go away and put together a treatment, which is like a written description of what the video is going to look like with a bunch of visual images as well. And then make a time to present it to them and pitch them your idea. You can also pitch bands that don't have music video funding and offer to collaborate on a low budget music video. So look at who's playing at local venues, ask around for any cool up and coming bands, reach out and see if they want to make a low budget music video. If you do get to pitch on a music video, musicians are usually looking for cool ideas, that you can deliver the ideas that you say that you can. They want to know that you can deliver the project under budget and on time. And they want to have a good personality match with you as well. In terms of pitching good ideas, make sure you watch a ton of music videos and look at what you like, what you don't like, what you think works, what doesn't work, see what appeals to you, and think about different kind of creative ideas you want to try out. Hope that helps.
Thank you. That was excellent.
Follow me on TikTok.
To AAA?
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the music video collaborations you made was as part of the Auckland City of Music EQ or Equaliser initiative, which is a piece of funding that is currently it's given to female artists. In its inaugural year, it was given to both female artists and female videographers and content creators. And you were one of the inaugural recipients, and you made a video with Luana, which is a really great distillation of what Luana is all about. So when you first got together to chat about what that piece of video was going to be, how did that start?
Yeah, so I had been chatting with Luana for a while about, who she is and what both her personality, personally, and also her music and what it represents to her. And we had a Pinterest board where we would just share a bunch of images, and there was a lot of witches and a lot of disco and a lot of roller skating. And so we were like, disco, witch, roller skating, can we do this? How can we kind of combine these elements? So it kind of starts with still images. For Luana, she'll kind of have a mood board of images that are evocative of the track for her. And then I'll kind of go away and think, how can we weave this together? What parts of the track evoke which things for me, and how could we link that all together? And what are some, interesting cinematography or interesting narrative things that we could add in? And then I kind of would pitch it back to Lou in just an email. I'd sort of say, hey, what if for the first verse this happens, and then in this transition we cut into this, and I just sort of pitch it to her, and then we go from there.
Excellent. And you should seek it out if you haven't. Look up Luana on YouTube and check out Anna's video. Abby, you work in the collaborative space, which is before it gets to creators like Anna, and that's an incredibly intimate one sometimes, but you can also do it over the internet. How do you approach that collaborative space of production?
I hate the internet. I hate Zoom sessions because you don't get to look the person in the eye and
lose a lot,
and feel how they're reacting and see, the little micro expressions. Because sometimes people are really polite, especially in the initial stages of collaboration where you don't know each other very well. You haven't built that trust yet. You are really reliant on seeing people in person and trying to get a read and trying to build that trust in person so that they then feel more comfortable being honest and saying things like, you know what, I think that sounds really bad and I hate it. You really want to get them comfortable enough to be able to be honest with you on that regard. So Zoom sessions are fine later on, but not, anyway, that's not really what you're asking about, but yeah. Still, Zoom sessions have been triggered. But no, I think it's really important just building rapport and it sort of on what you're saying, you've got a whole community out there willing to support you. It's a team exercise, even if the team is 2 people. And you need to be able to communicate with each other and yeah. There needs to also be enough trust that you can both be vulnerable as well. I don't know how much it applies to music video side of things, but when you're songwriting together, you're basically talking about some of the deepest, darkest parts of your life experience and your soul. It's very exposing. And then, you've got to trust each other to talk about that, and then, of course, represent it visually later. Yeah.
We've all been touching on the absolute baseline importance of trust. Yeah. You are self-taught as a producer predominantly. You've been producing your own work from day dot. Do you think because you've been applying those techniques to your own stuff, you understand the importance of trust? At what stage did you think, I'm ready to share my production skills with other people?
I sort of started trying to produce other people at the same time as I was learning how to produce myself, because I wanted to know how to do it. And I also, for some reason, thought that I could just do it, which I'm pleased, in retrospect, if I had, looking back at the skill set I had at the time, I should not have been that confident, but no, I sort of jumped in. And it taught me so much about it's sort of the other way around. Working with other people helped me inform my own process, because I'll never have full objectivity over my own work if I'm doing everything myself. So, there's still a huge element of collaboration that I'll require, taking my material to trusted friends, mixers, just people to just give me an objective ear and opinion.
Honest feedback.
But I think one of the most formative experiences as a producer early on in the studio was, it was my first artist that I'd ever worked with, very new to it, and the label and her management, and they all wanted a certain thing from her, and she was communicating what they wanted to me. And during one of our sessions, she broke down crying, and then told me the truth. I actually hate this. I've been telling you what I've been told to tell you, and this is not actually the direction I want. And that was mind-blowing. And I realised, because I had been picking up on signals, but I hadn't said anything about it because I wasn't aware that...
You don't want to push, right?
Yeah, I don't want to push someone to open up to me. And then I realised I needed to have... Anyway, after that interaction, I was like, please, I don't care about they can fire me if they want. I just want you to be happy. I want to make music you love. I don't want to have you crying. So after that was that changed the way I interacted with everyone that came in the room afterwards. I was, you don't want to make it obvious, but you're keeping an eye on their reactions, because people will be polite and people will not necessarily feel comfortable even being honest with themselves, let alone a stranger. So, yeah.
Especially if there's a power structure involved.
Yeah.
People will be like, oh, what an opportunity. I feel like I can't speak what I want as an artist.
And it's fine. I don't care if I'm not the person for the job, and if they may in that kind of circumstance, find a producer that is willing to do that. But I was not comfortable doing that, and we ended up making music that she loved, and
that's what you want,
that's
right?
all I care about.
Yeah, absolutely. Authenticity above all things. Now, Reshma, speaking of authenticity and power structures, you've been through quite a few, correct me if I'm saying this incorrectly, but Academy Fantasia?
Yes, that is correct. Very good, actually. Well done.
This is Malaysia's biggest, it's like pop stars or idol, right?
Yes.
So that's quite a structure to be part of.
Yeah.
Especially, and again, correct me if I'm getting this wrong, I think you were the only person representing your ethnic group in all of the show's history?
Correct. The show had been going on for 13 years, and I was in the final season, and I was the only person of my ethnicity to ever compete. Yeah. And I placed third,
Yeah. So you've done a Malaysian version of Pop Stars. You've also done a New Zealand version of Pop Stars.
Yes.
So in terms of collaborating or, being in competition with other people who you could be collaborating with, do you find that invigorates you, or you find it scary, or how do you approach that?
It's motivating. For me, I grew up in an environment where competition was your best friend almost, You'd have it in your back pocket. But I don't think I was raised with the same sort of toxic competitiveness that other people may have. I was raised with the idea of there's always more to learn, and you can always learn that through other people. And what better way to put yourself in line of sight of other people and their talents than through competition. I thought it was a real cool, free way to get feedback on my music and on my singing. And yeah, that's why I threw myself into so many competition cycles, was to see how far I could push myself, because I know that if I rely solely on my own ability, there's only so much I can do. But if other people are supporting me and inspiring me and challenging me, then my skill set would grow. That was kind of how I thought about it when I did those things. Yeah.
Community really levels you up, right?
Really,
especially
in so
if you're,
many ways.
as you've all said, giving each other honest feedback.
Correct,
Helping
correct.
each other grow and learn all the time. You are also one of the inaugural recipients of EQ funding.
Yes.
Tell us about how you approached your video content with Jolyn Lee. How was that process started? How did that go for you?
So Jolyn and I had never met beforehand, and we are the bestest of friends till today. She has been an integral part of the music that I am creating, plus the song that we created in the EQ grant. We approached it from a real specific narrative, as Jolyn is Chinese Singaporean and I am Indian Malaysian. Two countries that pretend that they're like fighting, but they're not. Kind of like the whole New Zealand-Australia dynamic that you also got here. Is that kind of feel. But we thought, okay, we come from a very similar kaupapa and community, both of us migrating to New Zealand, and the song itself is quite on the nose with what I'm trying to say, hint, hint. But yeah, so we thought, why not just take all the risks that we can, bring all the knowledge that we've got from our communities back home and apply it to New Zealand? Because the big issue with us trying to do that, in our discussions, we discussed this and was like, what is the big thing that stops us from taking these risks? And it's capital. Like, we don't have that money in our back pocket to be like, you know what, today we're going to do this. So we realized that we had to kind of tone down a lot of the things that we wanted to apply in the local music industry just to get our foot through the door. But thanks to the Equaliser grant, we had the capital to be able to try all the things we always wanted to try in our craftsmanship. So yeah, that's how we did it. We were like, okay, let's just film a video that screams, oh my God, how fun is it to be Asian? That was the feel of it, and yeah, it's coming out on the 16th of June this year, so yay! Finally, after a bit of a hiatus, and do we have a little sneak peek
Oh, we
of
do.
the video to show you?
We're hooking to it. Have we sufficiently whet your appetite? Would you like to see a teaser of Reshma's video?
This is the first time.
Where my Asians at? Jangan potong steam. Never ever drop these dreams. Wanna hear you scream. Where my Asians at? Where my Asians at?
It's the first time that anyone's seen the teaser, so there you go.
Was it 16th of June?
16th of June.
Mark your calendars.
Mark your calendars. Where my Asians at is dropping.
Now, I did warn you I was going to link it this way. Speaking of community, which we've all been speaking of, physical community can be difficult if you find yourself isolated geographically.
Correct.
We've spoken about how online is not always the best place for collaboration or community, but when it's your only option, how can that work? There is a Facebook group, which I am lucky enough to be a part of, called Where the Asians At. And it is a space where a lot of people give honest feedback, share opportunities for funding, constantly throwing things up that they think people in the same community would like to know about or should know about. Do you find those spaces useful? Have you made any connections through those spaces?
100%. A huge bulk of my community has come from that space. And, you know, especially because I only migrated back to New Zealand, would it be end of 2019, end of 2020? So for me, this song as well kind of is an ode to that search for community when you've left home. And for me, where the Asians at was a really big space in which I could talk to people and connect with other people who maybe resonated with the same themes that I did growing up. But it's also been such an eye-opener because through the creation of that community, I find myself engaging with other communities within Aotearoa just because I have a more cohesive sense of what the community looks like. So it's been a game changer in terms of Asian arts, and 100% I'm very, very grateful to the existence and the continuous support towards Where the Asians At, which is a similar name. This is Where My Asians At. That is Where the Asians At. I swear we didn't plan this, it just happened to be.
What do you think it says, and any of you can jump in on this, about underserved communities and collaborators? Because you may have all noticed we're all women sitting on this stage. That's deliberate. There are many groups in which you can talk about production, you can talk about screen arts, you can talk about music, but oftentimes we are very much not the loudest voices in the room. How can you find people to collaborate with who are outside of that dominant paradigm? Do you need to look for these kind of splinter spaces, or do you worry that that's kind of ghettoising things a little bit?
What a nuanced question. Whew.
I mean, WIFT is also one.
Yeah, WIFT is a good one. There's also the Emerging Screen Alliance Aotearoa, which is a great place to find collaborators. I think, personally, I found a lot of collaborators through learning, so through tertiary or through studies and stuff like that, but also things like, you know, trying out making a 48-hour film with a different bunch of people each year and seeing who you vibe with. Same with jumping on somebody else's music video. It might be that you're making coffee and somebody else is the runner and you both laugh at the same jokes. And that can be the start of your creative collaboration. And I think especially when you're starting out in a space that is maybe not geared towards your success, it's really useful to just have a group of people who are like your day ones, and it's like, I'll, you know, help out on your thing, you come help out on my thing, and we're all just trying to, you know, make it work. And we just, collaborate and help each other out and just get that little toe in the door and say, look, we made this and, you know, it was good, and kind of leverage off that.
Boost one another's work as well.
Big time. Yeah. Like and share and comment on all of your favourite creators' stuff. It's free. Yeah.
True, and there is other, I guess, online groups like Making Waves Aotearoa, or I think it's Women in NZ Music Industry, something like that. Yeah. There's a Facebook group like that, which quite literally, which you can join.
Yeah. And events like this, I think, brings people together, and I think I'm a real homebody. Sometimes I just don't go outside because I'm also a full-time teacher. I teach at a secondary school and it's very socially demanding. But I noticed that the more things that I attend and the more artists that I support and the more events that I go to and interact within, I just meet more people who do things that I resonate with, and it's a great way to build community and support the people around you.
Do you find that networking stuff easy? Sorry, I interrupted you. Any of you can jump in on that.
Yeah, I'm just going to say it's just important to uplift other people. Correct. Just there are so many opportunities that I've had from women in film or women in certain spaces that were harder for me to enter, uplift me, and it's just important to maintain that kaupapa and always be thinking of how I can provide those pathways and help other people come into those spaces.
That's trust again, isn't it? You were trusting them, they were trusting you. A lot of trust and collaboration in this. How about we finish, and we'll start with you, Anna, and go this way. If there was one thing you could tell fledgling green artists in any of your spheres, production, videography, music, about communication and collaboration, what would it be?
I'm just going to quickly speak to answering that question, but also just say a thing that I want to say, which is, I think this will probably resonate with you guys as well, is that creating work together and collaborating doesn't have to be this like hierarchical, ego-driven thing that is like what we've inherited from the patriarchy. I think you get to define what collaboration looks like to you. And I've been in spaces where people have said, you're the director, you have to know the answer to everything, you're the one who's dictating everything. And I've just had to learn how to hold my own and reject that and say, no, I want the best idea, no matter who it came from. I'm open to like collaborating, and I'm open to not having the answer. And I want to work with others who want to, share their ideas, and it's a trusting space that people can put all their ideas in together. And I've had to be quite like forceful about that and say, this is how I want to work. I want to work. My collaboration is a feminine style where I want to nurture everyone and I want to hear everyone's ideas. And then I want to be the person who's kind of steering that rather than dictating that. So that will be my one thing.
That's incredibly well put. Thank you. No pressure, Abby.
God. I've actually forgotten the question now. I was so absorbed.
If you could impart any kind of knowledge onto people who are starting out in your space about communication and collaboration, what would it be?
You've got to not jump straight into working on the song or working on the music video. I mean, I know that we're always in a rush. Oh my gosh, go, go, go. I've got to get this done now so it can come out at this date. But just go out for coffee with whoever you're working with. Or, you don't have to be their friend, but you have to understand how they work. No, I mean, ideally you will probably build some sort of connection and relationship that should happen naturally unless you have that coffee and hate each other. But I don't know how often that would happen. But you don't jump straight into it. Have a conversation at the start of the session. Just talk for an hour. You've got time. It'll be worth it.
Yeah. Great, cool. Invest in it, it'll pay off. And how about you, Reshma?
Oh, yeah, that question's really slipping my mind as well. No, I'm kidding.
This is why you don't get someone overly verbose to moderate a panel using $20 words when the $2 words would do. If you could impart any knowledge to somebody starting out in your space and they maybe don't have the community yet, they don't have the collaborators yet, what would that be?
I think, for me, I noticed that my collaborators weren't that far. I tended to look above and beyond the people that I already knew. However, my day ones are right next to me, and all I had to do was continue to foster that relationship and work with the people that are close to me to be able to build some amazing, amazing things and create some awesome art. Sometimes you don't have to search for that community. Maybe it's right there. Maybe it's right here. So keep your heart open, keep your eyes open, and, consider everyone and everything. And, the world is a magical place.
3 incredible wrap-ups to that. Do we have any questions for any of our panellists today? Nah? See, look, you've been too good.
Covered too much.
Is it on?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. No questions, just some thanks. Okay, so I'm Patricia Watson. I run Women in Film and Television. I want to thank Auckland City of Music for coming to us with this idea for collaborating on the Equaliser project. I know that SAE Creative Media Institute and we at WIFT are very proud to be part of this project. It's been great. I particularly want to thank Anna Duckworth, who is one of our members, who cooked up this idea for this workshop a few weeks ago when she was about to give birth, almost. And so here she is 7 weeks later. She was so committed to the project that having a very tiny baby at home, she's turned up here to contribute to this workshop. She made as you will have noticed, the TikTok video was neck up. I noticed the TikTok video was neck up. So it's a particular thanks to her. And I want to thank New Zealand On Air and the New Zealand Music Commission. I also want to obviously thank the panel. So I thank Reshma, I thank Abby, I thank, what's your name, my member? Anna. And I thank Sarah for doing this. I am going to say, and you might expect this from someone who runs WIFT, and sorry for the gentleman in the audience, but do think about having a female or a gender diverse director It won't hurt you. Don't pick a female or gender diverse director because you think you can pay them less, please. And do remember that there are some camera operators out here too who are female and gender diverse, who are doing great work. So, yeah, let's work towards some equality, because we don't have equality at the moment. We have a terrible gender pay gap, and this is our sort of kaupapa for this year, is to fix this. But as I said, we're very proud to be part of this program. I know that some of you actually do have questions, and for some reason you don't want to ask them. Anybody, you sure you don't have anything?
You can doorstop us
Go on.
later.
Yeah, you can.
Also, you can follow our social media and ask us questions on there.
Yeah, good idea. Good
Thank
idea.
you.
So can we... Oh, someone asked a question. Good woman.
I have a question. Can I just hang on? No, I'm on my way.
Yay. Do you have like a directory of film people that we can reach out to? Just, yeah.
There are quite a few resources online. Also, Patricia is a fantastic resource for this. I know New Zealand Musician also has a list of directors on their website.
Yeah.
I know the Film Commission also, not the Film,
no,
well,
they
Film
don't.
Commission and
No.
the Music Commission also
The
list.
Film Commission doesn't. No.
And New Zealand On Air, you can also
But
ask.
for female directors, we did in 2017 a list of female directors with links to their bios and anything else they wanted to put up. We're just about to re-release it. It'll probably take another month or so. So we will shove it up on the WIFT website under resources, so you can go there, and it's a fairly substantive list, hopefully. So, yeah, that should answer that. And we are going to the list of camera women is small, but we're going to release that as well. So, yeah, make it easier to get to.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Patricia. The work you do is incredible. If it is part of your creative sphere, do join WIFT.
Men can join.
Then you can join. We've been talking about online spaces as well. There is a space related to the funding we've been talking about today. It is currently only on Facebook, I believe, but it's much like most of the spaces we've been talking about. You can jump in there, ask for advice, ask for collaborators. It's also a fine place to find music directors. Who have you enjoyed working with? Send. Look Equaliser or EQ, Auckland City of Music, up on Facebook and join in that group. We'll all be there.